You finished Monkey Island? I did.
Did they?
Spoilers for Monkey Island from here on out.
Yeah, I got to talk about this ending.
Yeah, just for the rest of the episode. Thanks for listening. If you've not played Monkey Island, if you're going to play Monkey Island, play it. It's not that long, and then come back and listen to this. You've been warned. Here we go. We're saying it in 3, 2, 1. Hey, Justin, what was that ending?
Like, what the fuck?
So if you don't care and haven't played it, basically you like the whole time you're searching for the secret of Monkey Island, and it's going to be in this tiny little treasure chest that LeChuck ends up taking, and he runs back underneath the giant monkey head on Monkey Island. You follow him there, you solve a bunch of puzzles, and then you get to the end, and he goes through this door, and you follow him through the door, and then you walk out, and you're in this like animatronic recreation of Melee Island, which is like the island from the beginning of the game. Is Melee Island like in other games too?
Yeah, that's like the main island.
Okay. Apart from Monkey Island?
Monkey Island is the destination. Melee Island is the port start home.
Got it. So you're on this like animatronic like theme park version of Melee Island where like all of the people and all the shops and stuff are like mechanical, and if you go and take the key and take the chest from LeChuck, turns out the secret of Monkey Island is a t-shirt that says like, I found the secret of Monkey Island and all I got was this stupid shirt. And like no one seems to like recognize like, hey, this is weird. Guybrush sort of says like, hey Elaine, isn't this weird? And she's like, what are you talking about? Let's leave. And then your kid asks like, so what was the secret? And then you can tell him a bunch of different things and it changes the ending you get. But what did you like? What's up with that? What did you think of all that? I imagine it means something. I just haven't thought about it hard enough, I guess.
I'm going to be honest. Like, this is me being negative because I'm going to be, because this literally went from a game I was having so much fun with, and it was a nice, simple return to whatever. And then it was like, we're not going to finish it. We're just going to end it right here. Reuse some assets, put a couple puppet things in here, and then go with it. And then that's how it felt like it ended to me. I think the meta way to look at it is that these stories that he's telling his son, the stories are the important part, not what actually happened or the end goal. It's that time you're spending with it. And all of these stories are kind of like these elaborate concoctions that Guybrush tells about, you know, his like stories and exaggerating them, and probably wasn't quite like that through all of his histories and stuff. He just tells these like fantastical stories, and then the legend of his son retelling stuff kind of becomes what the game is and like the legend of stuff. So I think that's like the meta way to look at it, but it really just killed all this momentum that they were building towards, and they just ended it in a way that, quite frankly, like, I'm sorry, like, I know a lot of time was put into this, I know a lot of heart, and I know this probably meant a lot to the creators. It just felt rushed and unsatisfying to a way that it almost felt like I was like being laughed at. Like when he's sitting there on the bench at the end, just looking out into the distance, I was like, is he gonna start?
This is sad.
Is he gonna like zoom in and start talking about like to me, the player, being like, I see what you're doing. You did something wrong. Like I didn't like what's like is like I didn't know like where it was going with that. And you're right, it was a little sad when you think about it. Like remembering those things. I guess maybe the real message is don't have kids.
I don't know. It was like, you're totally right. Like without like no pun intended, like it just takes all the wind out of the sails of the story. Because like you go through the door and you're like, all right, what's gonna happen? And it's like, what's happening here? And like by the time you walk through the door, you have like maybe 90 seconds of the video game left.
Yep.
And then it's just like, and that was the secret. And your kid's like, well, what was the secret? And you can say one of like 6 things, and then it's just, you get a post-credit stinger that's like 2 seconds long, and that's it, depending on what you answer.
Yeah, like it's, I don't know.
And I get like, go on.
It was just disappointing.
I get the idea of like the secret of Monkey Island being something that like you're chasing for so long, and it's kind of intangible. You know what I mean? So like giving a single answer is tough for something like that. You know, it's because there are going to be people who've been thinking about it for so long that like someone's going to be left unsatisfied or wanting more or upset or whatever. But it's just like by providing zero answer, I think is maybe like unsatisfying to everyone, you know?
Yeah. They were setting up some interesting breadcrumbs throughout the story about like Elaine like looking like at all the stuff that Guybrush did to get to the
Yeah.
secret and like destroying it. And I thought that was literally the end of the story, about the idea that, you know, all the destruction that you've done on the way to get to this thing, was it worth it in the end? That kind of idea. And they dropped all that. And you even had a conversation with Elaine after that, and it's just kind of like, oh, we'll talk about it later. And they never really resolved that. That's part of the story. They never
Yeah.
really resolved the whole secret of Monkey Island with LeChuck and that kind of face off and stuff like that. And they just kind of ended in this like way that got like, they were trying to be meta, but it really came out of nowhere, to a point where, I don't know, if that's what they wanted to do, what if you had control? Like, I don't want to play what if armchair video game designer here, but if you suddenly got back in control of Guybrush's kid, and it was like, what do you think happened? And then the kid was like, well, this happened and this happened. And then it literally happened, whatever random stuff you said that you got to happen. And then it becomes that whole idea that the narrative is what you make it, rather than whatever the story is, and that kind of thing. And your imagination is where the journey comes from, or however they wanted to do that. But just like the way it ended was so, as someone who loves this series and loves these games, it just kind of fell so flat for me. And if this is truly going to be the last one, I don't know.
It's like, what I think is wild too is Guybrush comes out there, and like us as the audience are like, hey, what? Like, what's happening? And like, you talk to Elaine and you're like, I don't understand what's going on here. And she's like, what do you mean? You're here. Like, you're at this theme park. And there's like no follow up, like, what? It's just like, oh, okay. Anyway, you want to leave? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
I don't know. Sad. It's sad. But other than that, I thought it was a fun game. There's a couple puzzles that are just kind of like, that's what you wanted me to do. That was really kind of like ahead on it. I did not end up playing. I think I was playing the casual mode version of it.
Sure. It's really no difference.
Yeah.
Really,
that one puzzle you were talking about, the nails, I never had to do that. That's what I didn't have to do and stuff. The one puzzle that was really annoying was putting the thing on the map. The flag on the map.
Oh man, yeah.
Like that was
all
one
three of those.
Yeah. But even though that was annoying, no, I only had one. Casual.
Oh, there are three, and getting each of the three is like a whole thing.
I just had like a pirate ship that I had to like befriend and like show that I was
With
like
the scurvy?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. No, you do that, and then you have to, there's like 3 full ass quests that you have to go on. It's a nightmare.
So maybe I'll go back and do that.
No, I mean, like, it doesn't add anything. Like, I think that my recommendation is play this on casual mode. It truly, I don't think, adds a single
Use
thing
the
to this
hints
game.
if you get stuck. Don't feel like you shouldn't.
Yeah, agreed.
But yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah, until the ending.
Yeah.
I was figuring it was going to build up to this cool ending, and it just stopped. But there's some really funny stuff. Like, I love when you basically become the queen.
Yep, and you overthrow the thing, the government or whatever.
Yeah, like immediately. It just kind of like, all right, I guess you're going to be free now. Bye. And then you like leave, and everything gets like not destroyed, but like it's just like you redo the castle, and you can't go back in the castle because you're getting the carpet cleaned or whatever. So it's like just silly stuff.
You're right though, when you meet back up with Elaine, because you like intermittently through that final chapter, or one of the final chapters, like you have all these scenes of like her finding all the destruction, like the destruction you're leaving, and then she brings it up to you as you're like going for the secret, and she's like, is it like worth it? And you're like, yeah, and she goes, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like nothing.
Yeah. It's just, yeah.
Anywho, Monkey Island, play it.
Do you think that in Uncharted, Elena is called Elena because of Monkey Island?
I sure hope so. I mean, that'd be pretty funny.
It's kind of a similar vein, isn't it?
Yeah, I do think Nathan Drake and Guybrush give me some similar vibes.
Well, I mean, right about like Nathan Drake's like destructive quest for like to be remembered and for treasure and stuff like that, especially in the 4th one.
Yeah,
and like her role in that is very similar. Elena's role is very similar about like picking up the pieces and being like, excuse me, you can't be doing this.
Yeah.
She's good in that. She's good in that game. She's good in all those games, but.